All right, so I do apologize that I wasn't able to figure out how to just add voice to this and that I actually had to record it to my phone. But that said, it was acceptable in the details, so that's what I did. My name is Angela Kephart, and this is my final portfolio presentation. And I'm just going to go through this and flip through the sides as I talk so that it'll be pretty cohesive and easy to understand. That's what's important to me here. So the first thing I did was I started brainstorming and imagining the purpose of my writing and taking notes and thinking about concepts and what it was, what type of goals I actually wanted to achieve. And I tried to visualize an actual purpose of what that would be and come up with a theoretical concept of idea. And what I came down to was the idea of trying to implement changes through the Health Licensing Department of Oregon on some of their current tattoo and laws and requirements and testing. And so I was really visualizing my purpose being to implement this change and reflecting on my reader, which was the Health Licensing Oregon, who I'm writing these documents theoretically for. And so I started creating drafts and just a written pen on paper and writing out my concepts. And then I finally sat down and started working out my drafts on in a Word program and creating actual documents and getting feedback from the peers and the instructors and coming up with a final document. And I really did realize that there's definitely what I consider the power of communication using technical writing. Because when you're talking about technical writing, you're talking about a document that is going to achieve a true intended purpose for the specific genre of the type of formal document that you're going to write. And that purpose of formal writing and the concept to implement change is important because during our course in different professions, we will have to meet with other professionals or other companies and have to pitch ideas or communicate our concerns and be able to present ourselves in an effective communicative style for our audience. And so in creating documents to present to the Health Licensing Oregon, I wanted to draft an email, a technical report, a proposal, and a step-by-step exam to test the ability of an individual on their knowledge of universal precautions and bloodborne pathogens. An instructor and peer feedback during this process was very important. I listened very carefully and I took notes of the suggestions that I was given, and I continued to modify and make changes and refine until this brought me to a second draft. I ultimately created these documents to be used. And since I knew I wanted to implement change, I created documents intended for use in real life. I wanted them to be professional, to communicate my goals, and I wanted them to have easy readability and show clear intention. I looked at documents that the Health Licensing Oregon currently uses and tried to make my style cohesive and complementary with theirs. I observed their simplicity that they used in their documents, and I wanted to use the effect and correct terminology that they would use to refer to things so that they would understand what it was that I was talking about. This seems a very important thing in technical writing as well that I've learned, that you really do want to use the same type of language that your reader is used to using. And I wanted to have similar document layouts and stay very non-biased, omitting just my actual opinion and sticking closer with using data. I did use the knowledge that I have in this field. I chose a subject that I knew, and I researched the subject even more. And the use of other professional standards for comparison, such as doctors or nurses or healthcare professions, other people that deal with bloodborne pathogens in this field, helped me to bring important factual information into my documents to share with the Health Licensing Oregon. I wanted to stay informative and not argumentative. Stay calm, think about the goal, pause and reflect, and decide how I could get my point across without just stacking the deck. I didn't want it to seem like I was coming at them with a very opinioned and biased argument without actual facts. It was important to me to provide facts, which is why I implemented a survey at one point to bring cooperative information into this formal assignment. And I wanted it to make an impact. Your ability to communicate effectively to the crowd that you're trying to reach is so important. You want to leave an impact on your audience that you definitely know what you're talking about. Not only do you know what you're talking about, you have a good point to bring to them to help them know more. Effectively communicating not only involves delivering a message, but also resonating with the experience, values, and emotions of those listening. Obviously, if you're writing a report that has to deal with some very technical engineering, you're not going to include a lot of emotion. But when you're dealing with a department that has public health and interest, you might want to address some emotionality there for the purpose of showing an ethical intent behind your argument, which is definitely what I tried to do. And in coming up with my final documents, what I ended up with was multiple drafts, refined with peer input. I tried to refine my delivery style, my tone and emphasis. I tried to make sure that my genres were clear and had a clear purpose for each document. After all, my intent was really sending these documents to the Health Licensing Oregon after the project is graded, which I am pretty excited to do, and likely will continue with one more draft after this.